7 bone-chilling highway horrors you've never heard before. 3 a.m. will haunt you forever. It was a moonless night, the kind where the darkness wraps around you like a cold, damp blanket. The road stretched on, an endless ribbon of asphalt punctuated by the ominous thrum of night. Travelers hardly ever stopped to think about what lurked along those desolate highways. But for those who did, the horrors discovered were often too great to fathom. Few have survived to tell the tales of missing hitchhikers who appear only when the clock strikes 3, or the howling mists hiding long-forgotten secrets. There was a local legend about Route 666, where the pavement was stained with the memories of vanished souls. They say if you drive through at midnight, your headlights will catch glimpses of figures wandering, lost between life and death. Frayed denim, flickering shadows, and whispers that tug at your sanity. More than one car has skidded to a stop, its occupants frozen in an icy grip of terror as an apparition of a girl in a white dress ran against traffic, begging to be saved. Some who dared to chase her never returned, swallowed whole by the void, and then, there was the story that chilled every spine in town, the Desolation Road Bridge, where a ghostly apparition dragged sorrowful souls into the depths below. Drivers swear that as they near the rusty railings, they can hear forlorn cries echoing their names, each wail darker than the last. Those who stopped to investigate reported teeth-rattling screams resonating through the air, chilling them to the bone. A bridge to another world, perhaps, or a gateway to madness itself. Even the restless spirits of lost truckers can be heard moaning in the distance, their engines of despair fading into the flat horizon. Old-timers share stories of eerie strobe lights flickering about, guiding their path into nothingness. But the scariest sightings are the phantom vehicles, rusted, scraped cars that speed by at impossible velocities, leaving only silence punctuated by dread in their wake. They say those who look closely can see faces pressed against their windows, frozen in anguish, eyes begging for someone, anyone, to help them escape. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With the tales flowing like the night air, one couldn't help but feel the tension creeping back up, as if the shadows themselves were leaning in, eager to share more. What other horrors awaited those brave enough to tread along those haunted highways? What did the spirits truly want, and could anyone ever uncover the haunting truths buried beneath the asphalt? The chilling silence of the night was abruptly shattered by a shrill scream, faint yet piercing. Alex's body jerked as his heart raced. He hadn't been one to believe in ghost stories, but after hearing the local whispers, dread clung to him like the fog hovering just outside the car window. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel. They had barely crossed into the deserted stretch of Route 666 when the shadows began to flicker across the roadside, like dark fingers beckoning him to slow down. Alex heard his best friend, Jake, mumble something nervously from the back seat. "Dude, are you sure we should be out here?" There was a hint of panic in his voice as they rolled further into the depths of night. "Simon, it's just a road." "A haunted road, sure, but we're here for the thrill," Alex called back, trying to hide the tremor creeping into his own voice. Their headlights washed over the barren landscape, making every tree seem like a twisted creature ready to pounce. Loss seeped into his bones, the loss of courage, the thrill of teenage rebellion now tainted with fear. As they drove deeper into the darkness, a faint shimmer caught his eye. He squinted, trying to make sense of it. There, standing by the roadside, was the unmistakable outline of a girl in a white dress, hair whipping wildly in the wind. Her face was obscured, yet an overwhelming sadness radiated from her figure. "Did you see that?" Jake exclaimed, his voice hesitant, thick with adrenaline. The tension in the car snapped like a taut wire. Alex slowed the car instinctively. The rearview mirror reflected their eyes wide with terror, hearts hammering in unison. I think that's the hitchhiker," whispered Lisa, the quiet girl who joined them against good sense. The two boys exchanged a glance, the weight of her words hanging in the air. The legend they burnt into their youthful minds now tugged at them, pulling them closer to the edge of fear. "Should we stop?" Alex questioned, unsure whether he wanted to turn back to safety or dive into the madness. The girls seemed to beckon. "This is crazy," Jake shouted, fists clenched in the seat. Yet, against every rational instinct, Alex rolled the car to a stop. The world outside felt charged, electricity buzzing in the air. He opened the door. The screech of metal echoed like a warning from beyond. Alex stepped out, legs trembling. The girl turned, the glimmer of her dress ethereal under the night sky. No smile, only anguished eyes drawing him in. "Help me," the words slipped from her lips, as haunting as the wails on Desolation Road Bridge. Fear washed over him like ice water, suffocating warmth and hope. What was she trying to escape? "Alex, don't!" Lisa called from the car, her voice tight with fear. But he couldn't turn back. He took a step closer to the edge of the road, the dark void swallowing the light. Suddenly, the earth shuddered beneath him, as if the ground itself recoiled in fear. The girl's form began to flicker, bending and twisting with the night's wind. Shadows danced around her, closing in like vultures circling prey. Would he join the souls trapped in despair? As her eyes locked onto his, Alex felt a pull deeper than any he had ever known. The world faded, the road growing faint beneath a thickening fog, wrapping around him like cold fingers. What could be waiting on the other side? He thought, panic rising. And just then, the engine roared to life beside him. The car was moving away. "Alex, get in!" Jake shouted, the shadow of the girl now merging with the darkness. But before he could turn back, he felt a cold breath on his neck. As he spun around, the figure vanished into the mists. Had it been a trick of the mind, or had he come face to face with something far darker? "Let us go!" Alex yelled, sprinting back to the idling car. As it pulled away, one question gnawed at him: what drove her to wander this cursed road, and where were the others who followed her call? Somewhere ahead, the lingering cries echoed. Something wasn't finished yet. The night held more secrets, and the whispers grew louder. What awaited them? At the next turn. The car sped down the dark road, and Alex felt the weight of the night pressing in around them. Jake's knuckles were white as he gripped the seat. Lisa sat frozen, eyes fixed on the rearview mirror, as if expecting the ghostly figure to reappear. The tension crackled in the cramped space, each breath heavy with dread. What just happened back there? Jake finally broke the silence, his voice cracking. That was real, right? I mean, I wasn't imagining it. I don't know. Alex replied, fighting to shake the phantom touch of cold air from his neck. She looked lost. I felt like she needed help. Help? Dude, she looked like a nightmare. Jake shouted, shooting a glare at Alex. We need to get out of here. Now. But Lisa was staring at something outside the window, breath held tight. Guys, look. Her voice was a whisper, filled with a mix of fear and curiosity. Alex turned in the direction she pointed. Up ahead, the road forked into two paths, lined with gnarled trees that twisted and curled like fingers coming out of the earth. The left path was barely visible, an unlit ribbon shrouded in mist, while the right path glimmered under the faint light of the moon, illuminating what looked like a chapel. It's just an old chapel, Jake scoffed, but doubt laced his words. Let us just keep driving. Maybe we could find shelter there, Lisa suggested, her voice gaining strength. If we stay out here, who knows what might happen? Alex felt the unsettling pull of the old church. Something deeper than fear compelled him to discover what secrets lay within. All right. Let us check it out, he said, without a shred of confidence. Jake sighed deeply, frustration evident as he twisted in his seat. You're both insane. We can't just wander into some abandoned building. Ignoring his friend, Alex turned the wheel and directed the car toward the chapel. As they approached, the air felt heavier, suffocating in its stillness. The headlights illuminated the dilapidated structure, stones worn and cracked like the faces of old ghosts. "Stay close," Alex said, pushing the car door open against the darkness. The moment he stepped out, a dense fog rolled in, thick and blinding. He could barely see a few feet ahead. Lisa hesitated, her eyes darting nervously between Alex and the shadows that crept alongside. "Are you sure about this?" "Come on, it'll be fine," he said, trying to mask the rising doubt in his voice. They moved toward the chapel, each step echoing in the stillness. The door creaked open with an ominous groan. Inside, the air was stale, burdened with the scent of decay. Dust danced in the moonlight filtering through the broken stained glass. "Look at this place," Jake murmured, voice trembling. "It's like something out of a horror movie." A chill ran down Alex's spine. He was starting to feel like they were not alone. They ventured deeper into the chapel when suddenly, a weak moan seeped from the shadows, an anguished sound that made their hair rise. "Did you hear that?" Lisa gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if it's her?" Alex blurted out, heart racing. "What if she is still trapped?" "No way, man. Let us bail," Jake urged, his body jerking toward the exit. "Wait." Alex held up a hand. "We can't just run. What if someone needs us?" The very word sent a shudder down his back. As they stepped further inside, shapes emerged in the corners, painted in flickering shadows. The moan came again, now clearer, more desperate, a plaintive cry that pulled on something deep inside Alex. But then the shadows shifted, and a figure stepped into the pale light, a woman in a tattered dress, her face gaunt and hollow, eyes wide with unspoken horror. "Please help them," she whispered, pointing toward the altar. Before Alex could move, Jake seized him by the arm. "We need to get out of here now." The woman's mouth opened to scream, but the sound twisted into a horrible cry, "Help me, please don't leave." In that moment, the floor trembled beneath them. The chapel's foundation groaned, as if awakening from a long slumber. Alex's mind raced. Who were the others she spoke of? What had they gotten into? All he could think was that the fog outside encircled the building tightly, hiding whatever waited beyond. Was this girl a ghost, or something worse? And what awaited them in the shadows? As the darkness pressed closer, one thought echoed in the air: they had to decide, fight the fear or flee from the unknown. But in the end, deep down, he knew there was no escape from the haunted whispers that awaited beyond the chapel walls. The woman's mournful gaze pierced through the darkness, and Alex felt a knot tighten in his stomach. A chill clutched at his heart as the chapel trembled again, dust raining down from the ceiling like forgotten memories. "I don't think we should be here," Jake urged, panic bleeding into his voice. He flinched each time the shadows shifted, as if they were alive, coiling around the trio. Lisa stepped closer to the woman, her eyes searching for answers. "Please, who are you?" Her voice wavered, and Alex admired her courage, yet the terror clawing at him muted every rational thought. "Help them," the woman repeated, her voice a haunting echo that lingered on the air, sending shivers racing down Alex's spine. "They suffer so much. Who is suffering?" Alex's voice came out sharper than he intended. Every instinct screamed to retreat, to flee this cursed place, but something tethered him, a sense of duty, a need to push through. "Help," before she faltered, her expression twisting in anguish. "Before they take you." Jake's breath hitched, and he gripped Alex's arm tighter. "This isn't worth it. We need to go." But Lisa wasn't listening. With a surge of bravery, she stepped toward the altar, drawn to the shadows that danced at its foot as if alive. "What do you want us to do?" she declared defiantly, heart racing. "Tell us." The woman's hand fell to her side, trembling. "You must take the key. It holds their silence." "Key? What key?" Alex demanded, eyes darting around as shadows crept closer, each flicker of candlelight enveloping them in an eerie embrace. "Listen." The woman cried, suddenly urgent. You must find it before the darkness comes. The air turned colder, a biting wind swirling through the broken windows, making them all shiver. They exchanged desperate looks, hearts racing in unison. Then, an echo reverberated from the chapel entrance, a low, thunderous growl, the embodiment of dread itself. The walls trembled, vibrating with something deeper, something ancient. Jake's eyes widened. What the hell was that? I don't know, Alex breathed, spine tingling with dread. But it doesn't sound friendly. Then the floor beneath them shifted again, the ground cracking with foreboding. The chapel moaned, like a creature waking from a deep slumber, its very presence saturated with despair. Get back! Lisa shouted, yanking Alex away from the altar, her eyes wide, a mixture of fear and determination fueling her every move. But it was too late. Dark forms began to move in the corners, writhing and slithering forward, and Alex could hear them whispering, collective voices chanting ancient words, each syllable weaving a spell that made his skin crawl. Stay together! He yelled, adrenaline pumping as the shadows slithered closer, hungry and searching. He turned to the woman, but she was fading, consumed by the gathering darkness. Find the key. If you don't, they'll take you like they took me, she uttered, her voice strained, almost shattering into the air. Wait! Lisa cried, but the apparition dissolved into the shadows, leaving them alone amidst the chaos rising around them. With no choice but to push through, Alex took a deep breath. They needed to find that key, whatever it was, and fast. The weight of the night pressed in tighter, filling him with despair. Suddenly, the ground jolted again, and a huge, dark form emerged from the corner, eyes gleaming like embers. Run! Jake screamed, heart pounding. Alex grabbed Lisa's hand as they stumbled back towards the door, the weight of shadows clawing at their heels. As they barreled through the entrance, the doors slammed shut behind them, the booming sound echoing like a death knell. Outside, the fog grew denser, wrapping around them like a shroud. The moon flickered above. But in the distance, the chapel stood still, silent and menacing. Where do we go now? Jake gasped, panic lacing his words, reality dawning on all of them. They were not just running from ghosts, something was waiting for them out there. And the suffocating darkness that swept around them, one bone-chilling thought flickered through Alex's mind: they had to face whatever had been awakened in the chapel, or they could become part of its haunting forever. What would they find in the mist? Who were they the woman warned about? The pounding of their hearts thundered through the silence as they stood frozen, questioning what came next. The mist wrapped around them like a living thing, thick and oppressive. Each breath felt heavy, as if the fog was trying to smother them, to squeeze the air from their lungs. Alex could barely see through the gray, shapes loomed and shifted at the edges of his vision, teasing his already racing heart. Did we really just run out of there without a plan? He whispered, the words tumbling from his lips before he could stop them. Jake was trembling, his face pale. We need to figure out what that key is. If we don't, he trailed off, dread setting in. Lisa looked up, determination flashing in her eyes. We can't just stand here. That woman wants us to help them. If we can find the key, maybe we can put an end to whatever is haunting that place. Easier said than done, Jake muttered, glancing back at the chapel, its dark facade looming ominously. Alex ran a hand through his hair, trying to calm himself. What if we split up? We can cover more ground. No way. Jake shot back, eyes wide. We stick together. If the shadows are following us, we need to watch each other's backs. The three of them shared a tense silence, the weight of the shadows pressing down on them. The sense of foreboding grew stronger, a pulse of darkness that throbbed in sync with the adrenaline coursing through Alex's veins. Then, a low whisper skulked through the fog, a voice that seemed to weave between trees. Help them find the key. Did you hear that? Lisa's face paled. Yeah, Alex replied, anxiety crawling up his spine. It's coming from over there. He pointed down the road that twisted into the woods, barely visible in the dim light. Lisa stepped forward, inching ahead. We need to find out what it means. Each step felt heavier, the dark tendrils curling around their feet as they pressed on. Shadows flickered at the corner of their eyes, dancing just beyond reach. Suddenly, Jake stumbled, gasping as he nearly tripped over something in the path. What the? He knelt, a startled expression spreading across his face as he picked up an object from the dirt. Alex leaned closer, and his breath caught in his throat. It was an old, rusted key, large enough to fit a heavy lock, and ornate enough to signify something important. "Is this it?" he asked, hope igniting within him. "Maybe, but what does it open?" Lisa's brow furrowed, concern pooling in her gaze. "We can't waste time. We need to decide quick." Before Alex could think, a chilling laugh echoed from deep within the woods, the sound wrapping around them like a vice. It sliced through the air, each note steeped in malice, and sent icy tendrils of fear racing down his spine. "Did you hear that?" Jake's voice trembled. "What was that?" "We can't stay here," Lisa urged, but the woods felt alive, closing in around them, roots clawing at their ankles. "Where do we go?" Alex hissed, panic rising again. The key clutched tightly in his palm felt like a lifeline, yet it also felt cursed. "Towards the sound," Lisa commanded, her eyes gleaming with a fierce grit. "It might lead us to answers." They hesitated only a second before sprinting down the path, heartbeats echoing in their ears like a drumroll of impending doom. The laughter followed them, taunting, whispering promises of the price they must pay. As they raced deeper into the woods, the air crackled with energy, a storm brewing on the horizon. Shadows crouched behind trees, dark figures gathering for the hunt. Alex felt the weight of the key pulling him back, a dread whisper tainting his thoughts. What if the key unlocks more than just a door? Each step felt like a countdown. What would they unearth? And once they found the answers, would it save them or seal their fate? In the distance, the laughter grew louder, echoing like a death knell, daring them forward into the unknown. As they raced on, Alex knew one thing: whatever awaited them next would change everything. Would they be prepared for what lay ahead? The darkness of the woods enveloped them completely, the mist thickening as if to suffocate their very souls. Alex could feel every heartbeat thrumming in his ears, each pulse a reminder that time was slipping away. The laughter was near now, entwined with the rustling leaves, echoing off the trees like a siren-esque call. "Just keep running," Lisa urged, her breath ragged, eyes darting from tree to shadow. "We have to find something, a clue, anything." Jake sprinted beside them, glancing over his shoulder as if expecting something to leap from the depths of the blackness. "I don't like this. Whatever that sound is, it feels wrong." Suddenly, a branch snapped above, a loud crack that pierced the high-pitched air. They stumbled to a stop, hearts racing. What was that? Alex gasped, chest tight. A shudder passed through the ground beneath them, vibrating their very bones. "Move!" Lisa screamed, and impulsively, they launched themselves deeper into the shadows, the key still clutched tightly in Alex's hand. Could it really unlock their escape? Or was it the key to something far worse? Each step dragged them further into the heart of the woods, where the laughter grew in volume and intensity, wrapping around them like a noose. It twisted, playful and sinister, weaving together with the whispers that now filled the air. Help them, what do you want from us?" Jake shouted into the void, his voice cracking with fear. But the only response was a mocking cackle, echoing through the trees. It felt alive, each wave reverberating in Alex's chest, sparking a primal instinct to flee. Then, just ahead, a small clearing opened up, illuminated by a ghostly glow. The trio hesitated, panting, as they stepped closer. In the center lay an ancient stone slab, adorned with strange carvings and surrounded by crumbling ruins. Could this be it? Lisa murmured, eyes wide as she approached. The air felt charged, electric. It hummed with an ominous energy that rattled Alex's core. The laughter grew silent, abruptly cut off as if the very forest had paused in breathless anticipation. Alex could feel the weight of the key in his palm, a pressure that urged him forward, yet warned him to retreat. "Read them," Lisa commanded, trembling fingers tracing the inscriptions. It might tell us what to do. As she began to decipher the words, each syllable she spoke sent shivers down their spines. To unlock the truth, blood and sacrifice. What? No. That can't be right. Jake shouted, horror dawning in his eyes. We're not doing this. Wait, don't panic, Alex said, his voice a fragile thread. Maybe it's metaphorical, or maybe it's not. Jake snapped, glancing toward the trees, anticipation clawing at him. Whatever it means, we need to concentrate. We can't lose our heads now. But as they stood surrounded by the eerie glow, a dark shadow flitted through the trees, something large and unholy that slithered just beyond their line of sight. A guttural growl rumbled from the darkness, the sound of an unseen predator. Run! Lisa shouted, tearing her gaze from the ancient stone as a primal fear urged them forward. The chase resumed, not knowing if the laughter would follow or if something more sinister awaited them just behind the veil of shadows. The path twisted like a serpent, the trees closing in as if deciding their fate. Do you think it's connected? Alex yelled as they raced, struggling to keep pace. This place, these ruins. What if the key opens more than just a door? Lisa shot him a look, eyes wide. What if it opens the way to whatever is hunting us? Panic surged. Each beat of their hearts grew deafening, a countdown as they fled. Just when Alex thought they couldn't run anymore, the laughter erupted again, louder, sharper, laced with a malevolent thrill. Come play with us, come find the truth. The words slithered into his mind like a creeping poison, igniting a desperate need to uncover whatever awaited at the end of this horrifying game. But what would the truth cost them? As they dashed forward, shadows flickered and twisted, and the laughter merged with the whispers, creating an eloquent madness. The trees seemed to shift, leaving the path less defined, each step pulling them deeper into darkness and dread. What lay ahead? Was it salvation or despair? And as the last echoes of laughter faded into an unnerving silence, Alex could sense the portal opening, the threshold almost within reach. Little did they know, something was already there, waiting. What awaited them in the heart of that darkness? Was it truly what they sought, or something far more horrifying? The silence pressed down on them like a thick fog, choking off any remaining shreds of hope. Every step Alex took felt heavier, the ground seemingly shifting beneath him as shadows danced wickedly through the brush. It was as if the forest itself conspired against them, welcoming the darkness that lingered, hungry and expectant. Alex, I can't breathe, Lisa gasped, clutching her side as they stumbled through the chaotic undergrowth. Panic streaked across her face, and Alex felt a knot tighten in his stomach. How much longer could they keep this up? Ahead, the forest felt alive. Branches scraped against each other, whispering secrets of the dread that prowled nearby. We need to find shelter, Jake said suddenly, his eyes low and resolute. Somewhere we can think. Just then, an unnatural rustle erupted behind them, snapping twigs and raising a cacophony of fearful yelps from the underbrush. Hurry! Alex shouted, and they veered left, hoping to lose whatever was hunting them. The laughter echoed again through the trees, this time joined by something else. A chorus of voices, low and mocking, calling out in rhythm, come play, come play. It was a haunting lullaby, and every utterance sent jolts of dread spiraling through Alex's bones. Over here! Lisa suddenly yelled, pointing toward a gnarled old tree with a hollowed-out trunk. They dove inside just as the laughter crescendoed, pealing around them like a chaotic storm. Inside the crude shelter, the atmosphere shifted from chaotic chaos to claustrophobic anxiety. Shadows closed in, snatching at the corners of their vision. What if it tracks us here? Jake said, visibly shaking, crushed against the wall. They don't know we're here. Just stay quiet, Alex whispered, his heart hammering. But how could he speak calmly when he too felt the specter of dread creeping ever closer? Then the whispers returned, hushed and conspiratorial, brushing against the edges of their awareness. 1, 2, 3. The counting morphed into a countdown, chillingly rhythmic, each numeral igniting a primal fear. Alex, what are they counting down to? Lisa murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. What do they want? Maybe it's the thing out there, Jake proposed, his eyes wide. It's hunting us. That's why we're running. How do we get out of here? He turned to Alex, pleading with his gaze. Before Alex could respond, a disturbing crack splintered through the air. A figure staggered into their dim space, silhouetted against the gloom, its eyes gleaming with unsettling green light. "You're mine, all of you," it hissed, its voice dripping with malice, the laughing intensifying into a chaotic crescendo outside. Instinct kicked in. With his heart threatening to burst, Alex leaped forward, pushing Jake and Lisa behind him. Fight or flight? They had to choose. But would they have enough strength left to fight whatever this hunting monstrosity was? The creature snarled, closing the distance with a predatory grace. Alex could feel the impending doom buzzing like electricity in the air, prickling at his skin as he clenched the key tightly in his hand. "If it comes down to it, we'll trust the key," he vowed, unaware if he believed his own words. In that heartbeat, the laughter morphed into howls, wrapping around them with anguish. What did they awaken? Did the key hold the answer, or were they merely making themselves fodder for the darkness? In that moment of terror and revelation, the ground shook violently beneath them. The clearing was alive as tendrils of darkness surged forth to wrap around their legs, pulling them deeper into a nightmare from which there may be no escape. As the creature lunged, Alex braced himself, feeling the cold breath of despair crawling over him. Would they find a way to unlock whatever terror awaited within or be consumed whole? With a final desperate scream mixing in with the cacophony of madness, they would discover soon enough, what awaited them in the heart of that darkness was only the beginning. The darkness pressed tightly around them, stifling their breaths. The creature's gleaming eyes locked onto Alex, sending shockwaves of fear through his body. He could feel Jake and Lisa shaking behind him, their fear palpable, almost suffocating. "Stay back!" Alex shouted, voice wavering but loud enough to pierce the encroaching despair. The thing before them, a nightmare etched in shadow, pulsated with an energy that was both magnetic and terrifying. Every instinct screamed to run, yet he stood his ground, gripping the key tightly, feeling its jagged edges dig into his palm. The creature's mouth twisted into a grotesque grin, revealing rows of teeth that looked more at home in a predator's jaw than anything human. "You can't hide," it crooned, voice smooth like silk yet tainted with an undercurrent of malice. It took a step forward, and the ground shuddered in response. Alex's mind raced. The countdown echoed in his head. 1, 2, 3. Time was slipping away fast. He needed to think of something. "Jake, do you have that pocket knife?" Alex managed to ask, his voice shaking. Jake fumbled around his pockets, eyes wide. "Yeah, but what good is it?" he started. "Just trust me. We might have to fight." Pandemonium erupted as the creature lunged forward. It moved with a speed that seemed unnatural, a blur of darkness and fury. Alex shoved Jake to the side just as the creature's claws missed him by inches, tearing into the wood of the hollow tree. "We need to get out," Lisa screamed, her eyes shining with terror. "Not yet. If we move, we'll become targets." Alex shouted back, adrenaline coursing through him, but as the creature drew back, thrumming with dark energy, Alex could see the pulsing veins of shadow creeping nearer. He had to think. "Count it down," he shouted. "Whatever's counting down, we need to disrupt it." The laughter intensified, merging with the howls outside. It felt like a celebration to the creature, a feast while they were simply appetizers. The countdown reached 4, each number echoing ominously in their minds. "Jake, throw the knife," he commanded. "What? No way," Jake protested, fear pinning him to the ground. "Do it, now," Alex cried, desperation clawing at him. In a breathless moment, Jake launched the knife. It sailed through the air like a beacon of hope, striking the creature squarely in the shoulder. The impact was immediate. A shriek erupted from its lips, a sound born of rage and pain. The shadows recoiled, retreating momentarily from their grasp. "It's working," Lisa shouted, hope flickering in her eyes. But as if baiting them into false security, the creature shifted, the knife hanging loosely from its shoulder before it melted into the darkness, leaving behind an echo of agony. The countdown resumed, and with it, the shadows thickened once more. 5-6 run. Alex roared, making a split-second decision. The tree groaned as they bolted out from its confines, the forest closing in like a vice. The laughter morphed again, turning frenetic and chaotic, a dissonant symphony that chilled the bones. Branches snagged at their clothes as they sprinted through the undergrowth. They didn't know what direction to go but felt the menace behind them, hot and hungry. Each breath burned in their lungs, but pushing on felt like the only option left. Before they could think, a blinding light erupted ahead, a clearing, suddenly illuminated as though the shadows had retreated. But in the air, an electric tension lingered, weaving in and out, suffocating their will to hope. The laughter faded, replaced by a deep, unsettling silence. And in that silence came the realization whatever they had stirred was far from finished. The trees loomed around them, almost alive, reminding them of the hunters and the hunted. What they would find in this newfound light was only the tip of the iceberg. The key glimmered in Alex's hand, warm and inviting, but would it truly unlock their salvation, or was it the very source of their curse? As the shadows danced just beyond the reach of the clearing, they would have to make a choice: delve deeper into the unknown or be consumed by the very darkness they feared. The moment had come. The silence clung to the clearing, thick and oppressive. Alex turned to Jake and Lisa, their faces washed with a mix of dread and determination. "Do you feel that?" Lisa whispered, her voice trembling. "It's like something watching us." Alex nodded, his heart racing. It was as if the shadows around them pulsed with a life of their own, creeping closer as though testing the boundaries of their fragile comfort. Glancing at the key again, he felt a pull within him, a connection that spiraled with promise and peril. "We need to figure out what this key unlocks," he said, trying to drown out the gnawing fear. "Maybe it's our way out of here." But before they could take a single step, the ground beneath their feet trembled violently. Suddenly, a chorus of haunting whispers echoed through the clearing, a cacophony of words that seemed to twist the air with malice. "Give in, surrender, we will deliver you." Alex gritted his teeth, straining to focus. "Ignore it. We keep moving." As if activated by his defiance, the forest erupted into chaos. Dark tendrils shot from the trees, snaking towards them with a ferocious speed. Alex felt the air thicken, it wrapped around him like a vice. "This way!" he yelled, darting to the left. Lisa followed, but Jake hesitated. What if the key can stop it?" "No." Alex replied urgently. "We can't stop. We have to survive first." Jake looked torn as they dashed deeper into the light, heart pounding with the weight of the decision. Then the realization struck them: those whispers were not just taunts, they were seducing him, filling his mind with doubt. The shadows wanted him to turn back. The branches rustled violently, clawing at them as if reclaiming lost prey. Alex could feel its breath on his neck. The unseen creature had not given up the hunt. "Push through!" he yelled, teeth clenched, as they shot through the gap between the trees. Every instinct screamed at them to look back, but they dared not falter, adrenaline pumping through their veins. Then they burst into a second clearing, this one marked with strange symbols carved into the earth. Faint whispers lingered like vapor in the air, swirling around them. Lisa stumbled, and Alex caught her just in time. Fear blazed in her eyes. "Do you think it's safe here?" she gasped, catching her breath. Alex knelt, brushing away leaves to reveal a stone altar beneath. The symbols matched those on the key. With that, hope surged suddenly. This must be it. The place for the key. But as he approached, something shifted behind him. The shadows wavered, coiling like smoke, twisting heavily with anger at their discovery. The creature's chilling laughter echoed, a cruel undertone blending with their own fear. "Time is up," it intoned, its voice creeping closer. With a surge of panic, Alex raised the key to the altar just as the shadows lunged forward. "We can't stop now." He thrust the key downward, feeling it lock into place. An electric scorch surged through him, burning his palm, but there was no turning back. The shadows shrieked in agony, twisting violently as a blinding light erupted from the altar, illuminating the clearing. Time held its breath, and for a fleeting moment, they felt that it might just be enough to fend off the terror that chased them. But then, as the light flickered and dimmed, a revelation hit Alex. What if we don't just lock it away? What if we release it? What are you saying? Jake yelled amidst the chaos, eyes wide with confusion. In that split second, Alex saw the fragments of a plan unfurling. If the darkness was a living thing, it needed to be faced, not hidden. As shadows began to curl around them again, twisting like a storm, Alex knew their choice lay ahead, but would they have the courage to confront the very thing they feared? And somewhere, deep within the heart of the darkness, a distant rumble began, a whisper of something far more sinister awakening. What would it reveal, and at what cost? The light flickering around the altar momentarily repelled the shadows. Alex, Lisa, and Jake stood their ground, hearts racing as the darkness writhed just out of reach. The key pulsed in Alex's hand, almost alive, its heat seeping into his skin, mingling with urgency. Are we really going to let it win? He shouted, steeling his resolve. Maybe if we unleash this, whatever it is, we can confront it. No. We could release something worse. Jake exclaimed, taking a step back, panic in his eyes. But deep down, fear mingled with understanding. They were fighting not just to escape but to face the horror head-on. Listen. Lisa interjected, her voice steady. If we don't face it, we'll be trapped forever in its web of lies and terror. It's fed on our fear, and it's time to change the game. Alex nodded, taking a deep breath. He could feel the weight of their past decisions pressing in. With every terrifying moment they ran, the shadows grew stronger. Fear could no longer dictate their actions. Before he could think twice, Alex thrust the key into the altar again. We have to wake it up. He yelled. The altar shuddered as the light flared to life, illuminating the clearing with a brilliance that felt almost holy. The shadows screamed and twisted, their forms contorting unnaturally. The creature's laughter transformed into hisses of anger, reverberating around them like an echo from the deepest part of hell. You think you know fear? I am fear. It howled, its voice chilling and rich with malice. Not anymore. Alex shouted back with a newfound courage that surged through him like wildfire. The shadows lunged, but the ethereal light pushed them back further. Together. Lisa urged, clasping hands with Alex and Jake. Whatever comes, we face it. Their circle tightened, and in that moment, unity blossomed. A blinding flash surged from the altar, causing the air to hum with untold energy. With a sudden roar, shadows spilled from the edges and rushed toward them. Alex's heart raced as he felt the weight of consequences crash like an ocean wave against his inner resolve, but instead of retreating, they leaned into the light, channeling their fear into a collective strength. We face it. They declared together, voices intertwining in defiance. At that moment, the shadows faltered, re-evaluating their prey. Fools! Your light will only delay the inevitable. The creature's eyes burned brighter, flickering like dying stars, but with an explosion of brightness, the altar transformed. The ground beneath them began to vibrate violently, and all that was dark swirled around as if caught in a tempest. The trio held firm, unyielding. Release it! Alex cried, and on instinct, he pushed deeper into the altar's light. As light emanated from the key, the shadows screamed, writhing and retreating. With every ounce of fear they had ever harbored, Alex, Lisa, and Jake released it into the world, mingling hope with the horror. Suddenly, everything went still. The shadows faded, vaporizing into the wind as spirals of light danced around them. A heavy silence hung in the air, the oppressive weight of the darkness finally dissipating. In an enchanting glow, figures began to form, lost souls freed from their torment, eyes now alight with clarity. They floated towards the trio, their sorrow replaced by gratitude. Thank you, whispered a familiar voice, the woman in tattered clothes. Who are you? Lisa managed, breathless. We were lost, held captive by that creature, the woman replied, her spirit glowing with ethereal beauty. You faced what we could not. You helped set us free, and now you are free as well. The advice echoed with wisdom, and understanding washed over their fear-ridden faces, and just like that, warmth flooded through Alex. He felt as if chains were breaking, that layers of dread peeled away. In the distance, they heard the faintest murmur of the wind. The darkness was a lesson, the woman said, slowly fading. You discovered that true strength lies in facing your fears. With dawn breaking across the horizon, the trio stepped back into the world of the living. Light streamed through the trees, warming their weary bodies, a rebirth of sorts. What happened? Were we dreaming? Jake whispered, still dazed. Smiling softly at each other, they acknowledged that no, they defaced the monstrous shadows together. They could return to their normal lives with a new understanding. Fear could be a powerful force, but it was a force that can be understood and conquered. Leaving the forest behind, they found their car where it had waited, a testament to their bond, to the bravery discovered in the darkest of trials. As they drove away from the memory of that night, Alex glanced at his friends. We've gotta tell people about the key, the shadows, about facing fear. Lisa nodded, her smile bright against the backdrop of dawning light. It'll be a lesson they won't forget. With their hearts lightening into hope, they disappeared into the horizon. And the whispers of gratitude echoed around them, forever entwined with the tales of bravery writ in the annals of time, haunted, yet undeniably strong. But hey, before you go, don't miss out on what is coming next. You need to subscribe now to stay updated on all the exclusive stories that lie ahead. Smash that like button to help us with the algorithm. Your support means the world. And flood the comments with your reactions and theories about what just happened. Did you enjoy the ending? Don't wait even one more second to share this with at least 5 friends who must see this conclusion. Your engagement fuels our adventure, so let us keep exploring together.